This case originated August 3rd of 2023 in the Olney section of Philadelphia, around 4th and Champlost. Police receive a radio call for a shooting in that area. And when they arrive, they find one of the decedents, Joshua Chisholm, lying in the street at 4th and Champlost, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. At that point, they're directed up the block to the house on the corner, which is 5953 North 3rd, which is where Josh had lived. When they arrive, they find the second victim, Paris Gary, also suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Josh's house was equipped with video, and what it shows is that Josh arrives with an individual who's later identified as Sabir Bunch. The two of them arrive in Josh's black Cadillac Escalade. Sabir Bunch sticks out of the front passenger seat. He's armed with a firearm, which he then tries to conceal either behind his, at certain points behind his back, underneath the shirt. Josh appears completely unaware. At some point later, the second victim, Paris Gary, arrives on a motorcycle, both of whom he was friends with. Paris Gary he had been friends with for like over 20 years. At some point, did all three men go inside of the house, where they're in there for approximately 20 minutes. And then the next thing you hear, you don't see it, but you hear gunshots. And then you see Josh running out the front door, down the steps, across, I think it's 3rd Street, up Champlost, where he eventually collapses. And you see, at the time, a wrist or a hand reach out with a medical bracelet on it and pulls the door closed. About 2 minutes later, you see from the rear of the property, Sabir Bunch comes out of the house. He's hopping over fences, the next door fence, where he then runs into like a common alley, and we lose him. About an hour and a half or an hour later, police respond to a separate radio call at 400 West Spencer Street for a break-in. And as police are walking through the house to secure it, make it safe, they come to the front of the house. They see Sabir Bunch outside of the house, hiding behind some bushes on the step.
On the ground, on the ground. Get on the ground. On the ground. On the ground.
He's brought down to the homicide unit, where police were able to recover that shirt. They were able to take some DNA from him. Turns out when the results come back that not only does the defendant have gunshot residue, which is the gunpowder that comes from the back of the gun onto either your hands or some kind of surface or clothing, his DNA also was on numerous firearms within that house, including the murder weapon. This was a case, because of the forensics that was done, really narrowed down what the defense was going to be. Because his DNA was on the murder weapons, because he was seen pretty clearly on video, and because of the gunshot residue, it was pretty clear that Sabir Bunch not only possessed a firearm illegally, that he discharged the firearm or was in close proximity. So that was helpful, very instrumental for me, because this wasn't going to be a matter of what happened. I'm happy that I was able to give the families of Paris Gary and Joshua Chisholm the closure that they really deserved. There are no winners in these cases. Even a guilty conviction doesn't bring back their loved one. It doesn't undo the damage that's been done. But at least I like to think that it gives them some closure and some peace, knowing that the person who did it is held responsible.
It was a weight lifted off my shoulder. Because I thought it was going to be like years down the line, 4 or 5 years down the line, that I have to live this nightmare. I am very, very grateful. I feel blessed that it was a conviction. Everybody knew exactly who Paris was. I feel as though now I can start to breathe instead of just living.